Hello Steelers, and welcome to this game of Sturmabteilung Vor, which is a First World War version of I Ain't Been Shot Mum. I've not played a game of I Ain't Been Shot Mum for quite a while, although I wanted to, and a chance chat on Twitter with Andrew Dicedad of Firepower Gaming. Check out his channel, I'll put a link in the description below. He mentioned that he remembered a version of I Ain't Been Shot Mum for the First World War, which triggered my memory, which was that yes, it's Sturmabteilung Vor. This you can find in the Two Fat Lardies special 2007, the summer special. No, it's the Christmas special. No, it's the summer special, I'm sorry. In the Christmas special of the same year, there is also another there's another article on Sturmabteilung Vor, but I think it's just a scenario. Basically, really, the game hasn't changed a great deal. It's very much similar to the original I Ain't Been Shot Mum. The main thing that has changed is the troop makeup, basically, the differences in the units. And so the British and the Germans are covered in this. So I don't think anything's really been done since then, or at least if it has, it hasn't. Oh, I'm not aware of it, or it hasn't been published in any of the Lard mags. So it'd be nice to see some of the other forces like the French and the Americans, or even other further apart units as well, added into the mix. I'm not sure, to be honest, how many people have actually played the game, to be honest. So I thought, you know, I'd combine what is a really nice old Lardies game anyway with the First World War, which currently seems to be having a bit of a popular rise in wargaming as well. And I'm doing a 1918 game. This is the 4th of November attack on Landrecies by 75th Brigade. This is actually taken from this book, Decisive Victory by Derek Clayton. This is based on his PhD on the same thing, which is the Battle of the Sambre, 1918, 4th of November. It's the same day that Wilfred Owen, the famous poet, was killed during this operation, but he was killed at Oars. It is arguably the most important battle the British Expeditionary Forces fight during the First World War. It's the one that literally breaks the Germans' back and ends the war a week later. This is a great book, really good, lots of in-depth detail, lots of great maps as well of the operation as they were crossing the Sambre Canal. And as I say, this is a part of, just a fictional part of that attack at the edge of Landrecies. So basically I've got a British platoon British company attacking against a German defending company. There's a tank in support for the British, and the Germans have got some anti-tank guns. What I'll do is I'll show you the table, as I always do. I'll show you the forces, I'll get them set up, and then we'll play this game. What I've done in other I Ain't Been Shot Mum games is, because it's card driven, rather than me just going through the cards, I'll most likely just concentrate on some of the action as it happens. I'll play the game along, but I will just zoom in and actually concentrate on things as they happen. So basically the British have got to clear this end of the board where I'm sitting here, which is the German end, as they push into the suburbs of Landrecies itself. But as I say, I'll show you the table, show you the forces, we'll talk about those, and we'll crack on with the game. Okay, so this is the British attacking force, so this is a British company. We've got basically 4 platoons, 1, 2, 3 and 4, made up each of 4 sections, one of rifles, here, one of LMG, an LMG section, a rifle grenadier section, and also bombers as well. So they all have separate rules within the rules themselves. We'll go through those as things occur. They've also got a HQ as well, which is over here, another 10-man squad there. On top of this, they have a Stokes mortar battery to be able to fire just a single mortar with them, 2 machine guns, 2 Vickers, and also a Mark IV tank as well. This is the male version, so it's got 6-pounder guns. So they've got a little bit of armour. This is representing a D company of the 1st 8th Royal Warwickshires, who were fighting in this area on the 4th of November. And there's quite a lot of men in there, as you can see, but with I Ain't Been Shot Mum, you do have quite a lot of figures. So these are, as I say, there's 10 men in each of these, so what's that, 40 men per company. So there's about 120 men here. I don't know if this qualifies as a big game or not, but it certainly feels like it compared to some of the other games I've been playing recently. Okay, let's have a look at the Germans. And here are those defenders. So this, because of the rates of attrition on the manpower, the Germans are reduced in their company, so they've only got 3 platoons each, again of 4 sections, but they've only got 8 men in each of these. They also have an LMG section here as well, so this is separate. They have 2 machine guns. They also have their headquarters, their company headquarters, and they have an anti-tank 75mm gun as well included, because I thought, well, if the British are having a tank, they've got to have something to defend against it. Each of these are each of the platoons, the same as the British, are commanded by a big man. He's probably only going to be a level 2, just so he can at least get 2 of the sections doing something and reduce shock and things. And then overall command is by a level 4 big man as well. The machine guns were the same with the British. They can't move unless they are commanded by a big man, but they can obviously fire, so they want to be in a position, a good position from the start. So what I'll do is I'll get set up. As I say, I'm not going to use blinds in this game. I'm just going to play it straight on the table, and we'll just see how we get on. So I'll get everything set up and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so this is the table. You can see here the British start line is just behind this tributary of the Sombra Canal. It's not the canal itself. They've already crossed that earlier in the day, and they are still pushing forwards. So this is just a tributary. This will stop the movement by 1 dice. You can see that I've set up the British here. There's quite a lot of them basically heading out here towards the brickworks on the edge of town, because this looks like a bit of a strong point from the Germans' point of view. They're also sending their tank down the road as well, to hopefully, so it doesn't get stuck in the mud, and hopefully to get it into action pretty quick. There were tanks in this area at the time, and they did help with the fighting as well. We've also got another platoon over here on the right hand side, not as strong an attack against the village edge over here, because they're wanting to really push in on that flank as much as possible and break up, as I say, that strong point there of the brick factory. The Germans, on the other hand, you can see here, they have a platoon in the brick factory itself. They've also got a 75mm gun as well in there. That's the field gun, which they'll be using for anti-tank fire in this particular game. We've also got 2 platoons over here as well. You can see as part of the company. This one is basically in reserve, just waiting behind the lines, just to see where they need to feed those men into. So that's basically how the Germans have set up, really, just across the sides there. As I say, I didn't really want to use blinds because I just didn't want to. So I've basically set up on the table with everybody, and let's get this party started. So if you haven't played I ain't been shot one before, it's governed by a deck of cards. Each of these is a platoon card or a big man card, one of the men in charge of the particular units, and also other units as well, not just the platoons. So the armour, for example, has a card, each of the platoons does, each of the big men do, and they all operate when these cards are drawn. In this case we've got quite a lot, because there's quite a lot on this table, probably a lot more than I was expecting when I set up this morning. But we basically just go through and we draw, and as I say, I'm not going to go through every single card in the deck, just because it can be quite boring if you're just watching that. So I'll show you how it works first of all, and then we'll just move on to, I'll be drawing cards off camera. So first of all, anyway, it's the Allied fuel or a breakdown. So this is drawn before the tank has moved, so for this turn the tank can't move, so it has broken down before it's even got off the line, unfortunately for it. We'll have to test to see if it moves again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to roll action dice for it. If it rolls more 6s than 1s, then it can get moving again when it gets its card out. Otherwise it is just broken down. That's how bad First World War tanks were. So then we've got Allied Platoon 2. This is actually the one here in front of me. they are going to advance. What I'm going to try to do is use tactics of the time. I'm going to try to get the bombers up close, because they can only attack in close range, to get the rifle grenadiers into a position to be able to fire at the Germans' positions, and also use the LMGs as well to give covering fire. So I'm going to get those moved out, and we'll move on from there. So our first British platoon has begun its advance. The way it works in IABSM Shotgun is, depending on how many figures you have in each section, you have a number of actions. The British at level 10, these are good troops, they have 3 actions. So they've used 3 dice to advance. However, because they're crossing the canal here, they reduce 1 dice, so they're basically gone forward 2 dice each. We've got the LMG section up into position against this hedge, so at least they're in cover. Same with the rifles as well, and they're pushing forward with their rifle grenadiers and the bombers as well. I want to get the rifle grenadiers a bit further forward so they can start laying some artillery fire. I'll probably keep the LMG team here just to keep the Germans' heads down in those factory buildings over there. And let's see what our next card is. So we draw it, and it's the Axis Support 1, so this is actually the German machine guns. So that's not good for the British down here, first of all, so they can open fire on them. So let's do that straight away. My apologies, the Axis Support 1 is actually their anti-tank gun, so that can't fire because he's not in a position. I forgot it was the... sorry, I'd forgotten which units were which. Anyway, we are over onto Axis Big Man 4, which is their level 3 leader, their overall leader. I don't think he's going to do anything. They're in a good enough position. They're defending. They don't need to reduce shock, so he will just forego his card. Then we have Allied Big Man 3. So this is our number 3, who is attached to the 3rd platoon over here. So he's with the tank. Again, he can't really do anything. He can only get 2 of his sections to move, so he's not going to do anything with that. I'm just going to keep going through until I can get something that I can deal with. Axis Heroic Leader. So yet again, nothing that it says Axis, it should be Central Powers really, but I've only got World War II cards for this, I'm afraid. The Axis Heroic Leader is the leader gets to do something specific, but again, he doesn't want to, doesn't need to, so we're just going to move on from that one. Then we've got the Axis Platoon 1. They are not really in a position to do a great deal. They are again just waiting in their position. So we're passing through, and Allied Platoon 3, so we can finally do something. So this is the guys around the tank with the tank support. They're probably just going to start heading down that road to see if they can get further forward. Okay, I've just pulled out the German machine gun bonus. So we've got the German machine gun here up in the brickworks, firing down. It's going to fire down on the LMG section over here. Sturmabteilung Vor does have a different firing chart to the one that's in the normal IABSM Shotgun Second World War one. But he's firing with 3 dice because he's an MMG. So we roll our dice. We are firing at over 18 inches. It's about 27 inches. I've just checked it. I'm going to say this is it's an okay shot because they're just firing through through hedges here. So we roll the dice, we add them up, and we read off the chart. So we've got 10, 13, which is not great for the British there. It's an okay shot, so it's 1 hit. So 1 hit means we re-roll 5, 6 kill, 2, 3 shock. Sorry, 3, 4 shock. So that is 1 shock, but no kills. Alright, we've got the Allied Armour 1. So I'm going to have to try and get it moving. As I say, I need to roll more 6s than 1s. It's got 3 actions, so this is how we're doing it. Nope, it's still broken down. It's got a 1, no 6s. So we've got our German Big Man 2 over here in the brickworks. He is getting 2 of the sections to fire. He's activating those 2, so they're just firing with 3 dice. They are firing at over 18 inch with an okay shot. Again, just firing. First one's going to fire at the British rifles, the second one at the LMG. So against the British rifles, first of all, 10, 11 on an okay shot is 1 hit, 1, 2 is a miss, 6, so that's a kill, first kill of the game. So 1 British infantry is down, and then we've got again against the LMGs over there. So that's 6, 7. I think that's going to be nothing. Yes, that's no hits, no effects at all. So they've lost one man, but had no effect as well on the other section. And now we've got the British Big Man 6. He is in charge of the tank, so he's going to try and get it started as well. Let's see, same again. More 6s than 1s. No, that's double 1 and a 6. So not a chance this turn. Unfortunately, it's not going very far at the moment. Okay, I've got the Allied mortar bonus, and British mortars, Stokes mortars, are firing at the Germans in the gardens of the buildings over there. So what happens here is I'm going to shift, because it's a mortar, I'm going to shift it down one column. So it would normally be an okay shot because they're behind cover. So this has actually turned it into a great shot for the mortar, but it's firing with all 3 of its dice. So let's see, we've got 10, 11 on an okay shot. That is only 1 hit. So same again, 6 is a kill, 5 or 6 is a kill, 3, 4 is shock. So that is a kill on the Germans, so they've taken a hit as well. Okay, so I just pulled a T-break card just to give you a quick appraisal of what's happening so far. Basically, most of the left flank has been able to get forward. The shock over here was reduced from a rally card, but unfortunately this tank still is stuck where it is. But pretty much everybody is, well, a good portion of the British left flank is now across that, or on the other side of that canal tributary. So going well so far. An exchange of fire has basically resulted in 1 loss on either side. So still all to play for. Let's go on to the next turn. Okay, the British platoon has started pushing their way down that road, trying to get in position. The tank has still yet to move forward. They're still slightly moving forward elsewhere as well. But the Germans have pulled out their Axis big man card, or should I say power, central powers big man number 2. So that's this chap over here. He is again getting these two of his sections to fire again over here. So they're firing at okay shots at over 18 inch. So the first one on the LMG team is, that's 12, 15. So that is 1 hit. So we'll see what that hit is. It is a kill, another kill on the LMG team. So we'll just take 1 man off there. And then the other team over there we're firing, so that's a 4, 8, 13. So I think that is also, that's another hit as well. So see what happens. This is on these rifles here. A 2 is a miss, so no effect. We've got our German Big Man 1, who is commanding these 2 sections to fire at the British bombers as they advance forward on their 4th platoon. They're both okay shots, but they're just under 18 inch. So for the first one, because they're firing through fences and things. So the first one is a 10 on an okay shot. On 9 to 8 is 1 hit and a pin. So let's see what that hit is. First of all, 6, so that's a kill straight away off those bombers. And then the other one, and they've also got that pin as well, so that's 10, 13. 13 is a pin as well, and also 2 hits. So let's see what those 2 hits results are. 5 and a 1, so that's another kill. So another one killed and a pin as well. Okay, we've got our Allied Big Man number 2, this chap here. He's getting the LMG team to fire up at the MMG in the brick factory in front of them. So let's see what happens. They're rolling 4 dice rather than normal 3. It's a poor shot because they're in heavy cover. So we're looking at 6, 10, 11. Poor shot over 18 inch is just off. No hits. 1 more and they would have caused a hit. Meanwhile, on the British right flank, the big man here is ordering the rifle grenadiers to fire at this squad, and then they're going to try and charge in with the bombers and try to take them out in close assault. So we're starting with the firing from the rifle grenadiers first of all. It's over 18 inch. It should be an okay hit, but because it's rifle grenadiers, they ignore cover. Well, they take cover down by 1. So let's see. So that's a cocked dice. I'll re-roll that. So that's 7. That's 8. On an okay hit is 0, no effect. They have a different roll for their effect as well on the attack. But anyway, when they hit, these are now going to try to get into close combat. They need at least an 11 to get into close combat with those Germans there. Oh, they've made it 11, 12, 14. So that is, yeah, definitely up against that hedge. So I'll get those moved and we'll work out the dice for the close combat. Alright, so the British managed to get in. They have 8 dice to the Germans 10. They get an extra dice because they are bombers, but they did move 3 dice to get into action. So they need 5s and 6s. 6s both kill, 6s causing shock. So let's have a look. We've got that's 2, 3 kills and 3 shock on those Germans. On the German defense dice is 1, 2, 3 kills with 2 shock. So that's a draw, so they're going to have to fight again. Once I've worked out the kills and the dice again, we'll roll again. Okay, so back in, the British have got 8 dice this time. Let's see what they do. That's 3 more kills and 3 more shock, so that's going to hurt. The Germans, on the other hand, this time only have 6 dice. Let's see what they get. They've got 2 kills and 1 shock as well. So the British have won by 1, the Germans are defeated by 1, they're thrown back 4 inches, but they may not advance to the next fire, but may fire, spot or undertake any other action. The remains of that German section have been forced all the way back because of the loss of bottle with their shock, and the British have held their position. But I've just tested to see if the big man was hit and killed, and yes, he was. So they're down to 3 men here in the bomber section with 3 shock on them, but at least they've cleared the Germans away from that fence line. The British have managed to get their tank forward. It did start, they rolled, and they managed to get more 6s than 1s, so they were able to push it up the hill. This is on the next turn. We had a tea break a second ago. They pulled their car. Straight after that, the Germans pulled their anti-tank gun card. So that is now taking a shot at the gun, at the vehicle, as it comes up that road. It's in the open, but it is obscured because of the angle and the trees and everything. So we're hitting on a, and it's over 18 inches away, so it's on a 9 or above, and it's hit. 4 is a miss, so at least it's been fired at. Put the wind up on, if nothing else. The German big man is getting the LMG section to fire down at the British bombers as they're advancing up the road here. It's between 9 and 18, and I'm going to say it's an okay shot because again it's behind fences and things. So let's just see, we've got 10, 16 on an okay shot at between 9 and 18. That's 2 hits and a pin. I did keep forgetting, oh no, there's no big man in there anyway. So that's 2 hits. Check what those 2 hits are. But they are also pinned, so 4 and a 3, so 2 shock as well on them. Things have heated up a bit on the German left flank. It's their platoon over here, so the section here is firing at the bombers. This section is also firing at the bombers if they survive, and the last section is firing at the section over here, the riflemen. So we'll start with the bombers first of all. These are firing up to 9 inches, and it is an okay shot because there's a lot of stuff in between. So that is 8, 12 hits, 12 dice, 12, 3 hits and a pin. So let's see what those 3 hits are. And that is a kill and a shock. So I think they're going to get pushed back actually, because they're now on 4 shock with only 2 men in there. So they will fall back, and they're also pinned as well. Before that happens, we've got another, well actually they will fall back first. So they'll fall back 4 inches. So that's going to take them. The next one's up to 9 to 18 inches now because they were just on 9. So still an okay shot. So we're talking 8, 12 on an okay shot. That is 2 hits and a pin. So they're all pins anyway. There's only 2 of them left in there. 5s and 6s are kills. So another shock. So that takes them up to 5. I'll get these shifted in a second. But then we've got our last section firing over here. They're just firing just over 9 inches, so it's an okay shot again. So 5 is no effect. Okay, we've got our Axis big man number 2 again in the brick factory. He's getting these 2 sections to fire again at the same targets. First one at the LMG target, over 18 inch, and it's an okay shot, so that's a 9, and that is, oh, that's just 1 miss. 1 more and it would have been a hit. Needed a 10 on that. And then against the rifles, same again. So that's 10, that's 14 this time. This has got to have hit something. Just 1 hit. Same again, 5, 6 kill, 3, 4 shock. 1 or 2, that's nothing. Now it's our allied mortar bonus, firing again at those Germans. So this is a great shot at over 18 inch. And that is 12. I had a great shot over 8, so that's 2 hits and a pin. So let's see what happens to them. They could have done with this before. Let's just see. It's a kill and nothing. Alright, next up we've got the German machine gun in the village firing down at the bombers in that crater. So it's an OK shot and between 9 and 18 inches. So that's 8, 9. I'm not sure if that's going to be anything. It is. No, it's one hit. So let's just see what that is. 1, nothing. Okay, we just had the tea break card, so let's have a quick appraisal of what is going on here. So the British here on the left flank are still kind of struggling on this canal. They're trying to get across, they're not just being able to really. That's a bit of an issue for them at the moment. Meanwhile, in the centre, they have at least been able to get a bit further up that road, and the tank is now in action as well, pushing on towards the village, so that's going to be some good support. And then over on the other side, of the right hand flank, the Germans, well, the British managed to get in. They destroyed a German section pretty much, but the Germans are still pretty heavily defending those villages over there on that end. So still all to play for. The main thrust of the British attack hasn't gone in yet, but I'm sure it will do at any point now. Okay, so we've got I keep saying Axis, I mean Central Powers Platoon 2, which are the guys in the brickworks. They are all now firing, well, walk campfire. So there's one section firing down at the British bombers on the road, and then the other two are firing again their same targets over here. So we're going to start with the ones on the rifles here. 3 dice, an OK shot over 18 inch, that's 15, that's pretty good. That is 1 hit. So let's just see, they do keep chipping away. Let's just see, 4 is a shock on them. Then we've got 3 hits at the LMG team, so that's an 11. Don't think that's going to. Oh, no, it is cutting the mustard, so that is a 1 hit. So let's just see what that is. That is another shock. And then finally, against the ones on the road, same again. So that is 5, 6, 7. That's over 18 inches. Oh, that's nothing, no hits, but of course 2 shock at least. So we've got our mortar again, firing again at the same target. It's a great hit, great shot over 18 inch. So let's just have a look. So that's 9 is just 1 hit on our German section. So let's see what happens to him. It is a 2, so no effects. And then we're back on this flank again. So we've got the German platoon is firing. So these ones here are firing across at the remains of the right of the Grenadiers over here. However, this is going to be a poor shot, but they're between 9 and 18 because they're in a shell crater now. So that's 7, 8, 9, and they're most likely keeping their heads down. So that's just a 1 hit on those. See what happens. 6, it is a kill, so that is going to force the other guy back because of his loss of bottle. But then the other 2 sections are firing at the British there behind the fences. So this is 9 to 18 for both of these, but firing at an OK shot. So the first one is 9, 10. 10 is 1 hit and a pin, so that hit causes a kill, and then the second shot, and they're also pinned as well, is a 5. Oh, that is no, just a miss. So they're pinned and got 1 kill. It's the German anti-tank gun again, so it needs a 9 to hit that tank. So look, that's an 8, so it's a miss again. Ooh, they really need to up their game a bit. Right, Allied Platoon 1 is now pushing forward up to the brick factory here. Meanwhile, their LMG team is firing at the German MMG in the factory there. So we are hitting on, that's 10, 13 hits. It's over 18 inch. It's a poor shot though because they're firing into the building, but it is 1 hit at least on that MMG. Let's see what happens. And 4 is 1 shock. Okay, as the British platoon's pushing forward to the brick factory, the German machine gun gets a bonus to fire down on them. So I'm going to use it. It is, that's 7, that's 9 to 18 on a OK shot. That is just 1 hit on that British section. So let's see what happens to him. 5, so that is a kill. And then we've got the second German machine gun firing from the village at the bombers, or what remains of the bombers anyway. So that is a 8, 13, 9 to 18, poor shot. That is 1 hit and a pin. Let's see what that hit is. 5, so that's killed. So that's wiped out the British bomber section. As the British bomber section here rounds the corner to attack the brick factories, they come under fire from the German HQ. They're firing at an OK shot between 9 and 18. So that's 11, 14 on an OK shot. between 9 and 18 is, oh, that's 2 hits and a pin. So let's roll those 2 hits. 5 and a 6, so that's 2 kills. So that's 2 off, and they are pinned as well. Well, a lot of action is taking place on this German left flank. So we've got first section here firing across at the British LMGs. It's a poor shot between 9 and 18 because they're in the trees there. So 10, 13 is 1 hit, but they are pinned. So we roll that again. So that's a 6, that's a kill, and a pin on them as well. And then we've got the 2 sections in the building firing at the section behind the fences. So this is between 9 and 18, and it's an okay shot. First one is 11, 15. Ooh, so that's 2 hits and a pin. They're already pinned anyway. Oh, they were pinned from last turn, but they are pinned again. So another kill there. That's another one dead. And then another shot from the other building over there. So that's 7, 8, 9. That is a 1 hit. So we roll again for that. 4, so that's a shock as well. Okay, back to the Allied Platoon 4. So they're firing their rifle grenades at the ones behind the hill. So they're in grate, but it's over 18 inch. So that is 7, 12 hits on grate. That's over 18 inches. Is 2 hits and a pin. So those hits. For rifle grenades, they kill on a 6, but shock on anything above a 2. So that's 2 shock, and they are also... Right, we've got the Allied tank. Unfortunately, it's already broken down this turn, so they're not trying to get it to move, but they are firing their 6-pounder guns. First one at the German LMG team. So this is between 19 and 18, and it's an okay shot, so that is 8. 8 is 1 hit on them. So let's see what happens to them. 6, so that is a kill at least, and then they're also firing at the anti-tank gun as well, because that's a major threat. So that's a 7. This time it's on a poor shot between 9 and 18 because it's in the buildings, so that is nothing. So they at least killed 1 German from the LMG team. And now we've got more fire from the German MMG down on the British there in the trees. That's going to be a poor shot, I'm going to say, from there, between 9 and 18. So that's 9, 12 on a poor shot is 1 hit. So let's just see what happens. 6, but it is a kill. And now we've just got the Axis machine gun bonus, so they're going to fire again, same one. Poor shot between 9 and 18, but let's have a look. So that's 6 and 5 is 11. 11, 9 and 18, poor. That's another hit. See what happens. A 2, no effect. The German anti-tank gun swings back into action. So this is hitting on a 9 and above. 9, so it's hit this time. So this has got a strike of 4 against an armour of 2. So we roll the dice. 5s and 6s are hits, so that's just 1. And then we roll our armour for the tank, a 5, so it's 0 net hits. If the scores are equal, including no hits and no saves, roll below. So we roll 1 dice, and a 3 is the AFE must halt and engage the firer in a firefight in its next activation. It's kind of already doing that, but it's going to continue doing that. Okay, we've got our German big man 2. He's commanding these to fire down at these over here. That's going to be a 9 to 18 and an okay shot. Then these are firing over there. That's going to be a 9 to an 18. Sorry, below 9, but a great shot. So we're going to start with that one. Up to 9 inches. Let's just see, there's only 2 dice because they've had to move as well to get into position. So that's a 7, 4 hits and a pin. They're already pinned. Let's see what those hits are. Again, 5, 6 are kills, 3, 4 is shock. So that's 2 kills, 2 shock. So let me just put that on. And then we've got 3 dice firing down between 9 and 18 and okay shots. So this time it's 10, it's 14. 14 between is 2 hits and a pin. So let's see what those 2 hits are. 2 more kills. Oh dear. Alright, we've got Allied Platoon 1. So these guys are pinned, but they're going to fire up at the Germans up there. I think they might only be rolling 2 dice at this point. Yeah, they're only rolling 2 dice. They're firing on over 18 because they're pinned and they are in a poor shot. They're just firing back at the section that fired at them. 6 is nothing, unfortunately for them. We've got the LMG team down here as well, down in the stream bed. They are firing at that MMG, so they're firing on their full force. So that's 8, 9, they are firing at over 18-inch, but it's a poor shot as well because they're firing into buildings, so that's nothing as well. Then we've got our rifle grenades, and they are going to fire at the section that are in the buildings over there, so that's between 9 and 18. It's going to be a great shot because they get a better chance at hitting. Let's see what they've got. That is 9, 10, 11, 12 on a great shot. It is 3 hits and a pin. However, they're only killing on a 6. So 1 kill, but 2 shock and a pin. Alright, we've got our allied big man 3, the guy up near the village now. He's getting this section to fire at the Germans in front of them, and also the LMG team as well behind him to fire. No, actually he's going to get the rifle grenadiers to fire as well at that section in front. So we'll start with them. They are between 9 and 18 and great as well. So that is 10 on the fire chart, is 3 hits and a pin. So let's see what that does to them. So that is 1 kill and 2 shock straight away. So let me just put that on first of all. And then they are being fired at by the section, less than 9 inches, and a great shot again. Oh, that's nasty. That's 11, 15. So that's 9 hits and a shock. No, suppressed, sorry. So let's do those 9 hits. Let's see what becomes of those. Might be good bites of that section. 5s and 6s kills. This is rifles instead. This is 2 kills and how many shock? 1, 2, 4, 5 shock. No, 6 shock in fact. So 6 shock takes them up to 8, and they've lost another 2 men, so they are falling back. I think they might actually fall off the table. Let's have a look. Alright, we've got the German Platoon 2. The only ones left that haven't fired yet this turn are these ones here. They're firing at the bombers in the street, so it's less than 9, and it's a great shot because they're literally in the open now. So that's 10, 12, that is 8 hits and a pin. So let's see what happens with those 8 hits. 6, I've got there, 7, 8. This may take these out, you never know. So maybe not 1 kill and 1, 2, 3, 5 shock in total. So that takes them up to 6 and 1 kill as well. However, they are over shocked, so they're going to get pushed back. They've lost their bottle, so they'll be pushed back 2 inches to there. So actually that wasn't so bad for the British. Then we have the Allied Stokes mortar again, firing at those Germans between 9 and 18, but it's a great shot. So let's just see. So that is 6, 11 on a great shot. So that is 1 hit. 5, 6 is a kill. No effect. Okay, we just had a tea break, so let's have a quick look at what's happening right now. On the right flank, the British are pushing forward, but they are a bit pinned. That will all lift because it is now a tea break, but they are kind of faltering a bit. However, in the centre, they've managed to get their machine guns up to that fence line, so they're going to be able to now laying down fire on the village itself, which is going to be very useful. In the middle, they are still pushing up that road, getting there slowly. They've managed to destroy a German section in the middle there, and over here on the left flank they're basically gone for it, and they've got 2 platoons now pushing forward towards those brick factories, and they're getting closer to that German strong point, and hopefully trying to take it out and knock them out and see what happens. So we'll go on to the next turn and see if they can keep up the momentum of this attack. Alright, we've got the Allied Platoon 1 has moved forward. What they've done is they've pushed in their bombers and their riflemen into the brick factory to attack this German section here. But before they do that, I've just moved these in so I don't have to move them again, but before they do that, they're firing with their rifle grenades into the factory again at those Germans. They're firing at between 9 and 18, and it's a great shot because they're in the open. Basically it's an open factory, so that is 7, 11 on a great shot in the open, so that's 3 hits and a pin. So let's see what those hits are first of all. Actually that is 3 shock, so that takes them up to 5 shock, and they're pinned as well. So now they've moved into the attack. I'm going to roll, well, I'm going to work out the dice now that we know what's happened from the rifle grenades, and I'll be back to roll them. Alright, I've worked out the dice. It's basically 10, I think it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 British dice against 3 German dice, because they are pinned and shocked. So let's just see. It's never a foregone conclusion, but I think the British are probably going to win this one. Let's just see how many they do. Well, I say that, that's just literally 1 kill out of all those dice. So that's 12 hits, but just 1 kill. Oh, sorry, 12 dice for 1 kill. So we rolled for the Germans, none. So they have lost by 1. They lose 1 kill, and they are, I think they are forced back as well. Defeated by 1, thrown back 4 inches, and they may not advance, but they can fire. So that takes them, I don't think it takes them off the table, but they are close to it. And with that assault clearing the brickworks, their LMG is firing at the German LMG, over 18 inches, and it's a poor shot, so that's an 8. I don't think that's going to be a hit or anything. No hits. Okay, the German leader has ordered his men to pile into the British here in the opening of the square here. So I think it's about 17 German dice against 14 British dice here, because we've got Grenadiers and big men and all sorts in there. So let's just see. 5s and 6s are kills. So this is the Germans with 6s being shock. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 kills, 5, 6 kills. That's 6. I knocked over. That was a 2, I think. So that's 6 kills, 4 of which are shock. I'll work out where that shock is going to go in a second once I've done the British rollback. So they're going to need to kill 6 at least to stay in the fight. Let's get rid of everything that isn't a 6, because there's quite a few in there I can see. Well, a 6 and a 5 anyway. Well, actually, as I've taken them out, there's less. So that is a defeat of the British. They've caused 5 hits. The Germans have caused 6, so the British are thrown back 4 inches. So they're thrown back just a little further down the road. I'll take off the casualties and work it all out, but yeah, the Germans have won that one. So at least they pushed them back, held them for now. Alright, so after that brutal and vicious close assault, in which the British big man was killed, but the German survived it, I've given out all the casualties. It's now the Allied big man 6, which is the man in the tank. He's getting the units to fire at the Germans here, so they are actually firing at between, oh, let me just check actually, I don't know how far away that tank is. It's just over 9 inches, so it's 9 to 18, but it's a good shot because they're just in the open, right in front of it. 2 6-pounders, both firing at this front section here. So 6 for the first one. I'll just add them up, 2 6s in fact. For 9 to 18 inches, that is 2 kills on both and a pin. So they are pinned and 4 hits. So let's just see what those hits are. That's 2 kills and another shock on them. Let's see if it hits their big man, because he's with them in there. 1 to 2 he does. No, 8 he doesn't, so it's just on 2 of the rifles. And here goes yet another British close assault as the bombers have moved forward under orders from their big man here. So they're attacking just this section here, they're the only ones that are in. We're looking at 5s and 6s again, so that's 2 kills and 2 shock on those Germans. Let's see if the Germans are able to defend this. They've got a few more dice here than the British have. So I'll be surprised. Oh well, I was going to say I'm surprised if they don't hold it. So that's a 6. That's a kill and a shock on the British, but they are pushed back 4 inches. So they've got forward again. German machine gun bonus is opening fire from the brick factory at the bombers, who have just successfully cleared the ground. Well, half cleared the ground floor. This is a good shot under 9 inches. Both of those were cocked. I'll re-roll them. So that's a 9, 10, 11, 12 is 8 hits and a pin. So let's see what those 8 hits cause. There's one here. So that is 3 kills and no shock. So 3 kills and they are pinned. Okay, we've got German Platoon 2, so these ones over here. So the first one is firing at the British in the centre of the street. That's over 9 inches, but it's a great shot because they are just in the open. So that's 12, 15, 15 in the open on a great shot is 4 hits, and they're suppressed as well. So 4 hits. So what happens? That is 2 kills and a shock. So So let me just get those on there. And then our second German section is firing again at those rifles. This time it's less than 9 inches, but it's still a great shot as well. Same as our machine gun, so this time it is 7, 8, 9, 10. 6 hits and a pin. They're already pinned. So the 6 hits are 2 kills and 3 shock. So that takes their shock up to 4. 4 against 4. There's 4 men left in there. So they're okay. They're just holding on for now. Allied machine gun bonus. So these ones are firing over here at these guys there between 9 and 8, and it's an okay shot because they're behind fences. So let's have a look. We've got 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 on that is 2 hits and pinned. So they've not been pinned for a while, so they've taken 2 hits as well. So let's see what they are. And 2 ones, nothing. And then we've got the other machine gun over here firing at this section, the closest here as well. So this is same again, between 9 and 18 and an okay shot. So that's 5, that's 9 in total. That is just 1 hit. Let's see what it is. It's a 5, it's another kill. So they've already got 3 in there, so I'll take off that stand. So they're down to 4 now with 2 shock. And then the Germans get their anti-tank gun out again, so they need a 9 or above to hit because nothing has moved for a while, and that's a 3, so that's a miss. But then we're straight back in with the British machine gun over here firing again at them, 9 and 18, and it's an okay shot, so that's a 12. That is 2 hits and a pin. They're already pinned, so let's see what those 2 hits are. 3 and a 2, so that's a shock and a no effect. And I'm staying here because we've now got the Mortar, and that is firing again at that section. We're just trying to break it. Over 18, and it's a great shot. So that's 9, 10 hits. So that is just 1 hit. And probably might want to change their target at this point. See what happens. 3. So that is another shock, at least on that section. And this section's troubles aren't over yet because we've got the Allied HQ unit firing at them this time. So this is firing between 9 and 18 inches, and it's an okay shot. So that's an 8. That causes 1 hit. So let's just see what that is. It is a 3, so that's another shock. They're slowly whittling them down. Okay, so we've got the Allied Platoon 4. So we move forward the Lewis guns here, and they're just firing at the Germans there, only with 1 die, so 1, that's going to be no effect. And then we've got the rifles up against that hedge, and they are firing into the building. So they're firing between 9 and 18, but it's a poor shot because they're in cover, so that's a 10. But it's still 1 hit on those Germans. Let's see what happens. 6, and it is a kill. Meanwhile, we're staying over here, and we've got the Germans firing their machine gun down at the Lewis gun team over here. And that is a 12, and that's 9 to 18, and it's an okay shot because of where they are. 12 is 2 hits and a pin. Let's see what those 2 hits are. 3 and a 3, so 2 shock and a pin. Okay, I've just drawn the T-break cards again, so let's just have a quick appraisal of what is going on, because it can be a bit confusing. So first of all, we've got the British over here. They managed to clear the brick factory itself, push the Germans back, not off the table, but push them back, and they also cleared partially cleared this factory as well. Unfortunately though, they were met by heavy opposition just outside the town, and they themselves were pushed back, but not without causing a lot of casualties on those Germans there. You can see they're pushed all the way back down here with the bombers with their shock. On the right hand side, the right flank, the firefight has kind of bogged down a little bit, but this has been used anyway by the British really just as a holding action rather than anything else. They're slowly working their way on destroying that section, but very slowly. The main thrust of the attack is, as I say, from the start anyway, against the brick factory, and it seems to be working at least. They've not cleared this flank yet, but they are arriving in strength, and the Germans are taking more and more damage as it goes on. So probably over the next couple of turns, maybe a couple more close assaults may clear out some of these buildings, and we'll just see where we are when that happens. But anyway, on with the game. Alright, first things first on our new turn, we've got the German anti-tank gun firing. We've also got an anti-tank cat as well, but she's disappearing off. So 9 and above to hit, and that's an 8, so that is also a miss. Oh, they just can't hit a barn door at 20 paces with that thing. And now we've got the British company headquarters, firing across at those Germans there, still trying to break them. So that's an okay shot between 9 and 18 inches. That's 8, 13 in total. That is 2 hits and a pin, so they're already pinned anyway. I should have taken that off actually in the at the end of the tea break, but just stick it back on. And that's a kill, and that's it. Right, we've got the Allied Platoon 2, so it's these ones here. So we've got their bombers can't do anything particularly much because they're pretty much shocked, but they moved forward their LMG, so that can fire. It's going to fire at the MMG. They're firing with their rifles at the MMG. They're also firing with their rifle grenadiers at that MMG, because we're wanting to sweep in here with the other section. So I'm trying to destroy them or damage them, or at least pin them at this point, because that will really help in an attack. So we're starting with the rifles. They're firing up to 9 inches, and it's a poor shot because they're firing into the factory itself. So we've got a 9, and a 9 on a poor shot is 1 hit. So let's see what that is first of all. 5, that is a kill. So that's a good start at least. Then we've got the LMG, that's firing 2 dice. So that's a 3, and a 1 is a 4. Same again, that's between 9 and 18. And it's a poor shot, so that's nothing. And then finally we've got the rifle grenadiers. These are firing over 18 inch, but this is a great shot because they are in the open basically. So that's a 10. So that's another hit as well. Let's see what that does. A 3, so that's another shock on them. So they are slowly shocking them, and very slowly pecking away at the MMG crew as well. And the firing begins again over on the German left flank. So we've got this group here firing first of all. Mind you, they're probably actually too shocked to do anything. So we just got the ones in the buildings firing down on the rifles there. They're firing between 9 and 18 inches, and it's an okay shot because they're behind fences. So that is a 7 on a 9. 1 hit. Let's see what happens. 2 is nothing. And then the second section, that's 6, that's 10. That is 1 hit and a pin. And what happens on that hit? Nothing. So they are just pinned. So meanwhile we're staying over here. We've got the Axis machine gun bonus of the one in the building over there, firing at the Lewis guns. This is 9 to 18. It's an okay shot. And that is 9-10 on an okay shot. And that is 1 hit and a pin. So the hit has shocked them and also pinned them as well. Okay, we've got our big boss. He is getting these 2 machine guns to fire. So first one over there, the other one over here is also going to get this LMG team as well to fire. They're going to fire at this section here, try and destroy that. So we'll start with them first of all. They're actually rolling 4 dice, 9 to 18s, and it's an okay shot. So that is 11, 12, 13, 14, 17 in total. Maths is bad. That is 2 hits and a suppression. So let's see what happens with those 2 hits. So that is 2 shocks, so that takes them up to 4. They have got 4 men in there, but no kills. So that's all. So they're on 4 shock. And then we got that machine gun. Firing, same again, 9 to 18, it's an okay shot. This time it's 8, 10, 14 in total. On an okay shot. An okay shot is 2 more hits and pinned. So see what those hits are. Another shock, so that means that they are now going to have to withdraw. Well, actually they've got their big man attached to them, so they're okay. They can hold. They're just holding on at the moment. Then we've got our other machine gun over here firing again at that section that won't die. Just see, same again. An okay shot, 9 to 18. 7, 12, that's 12 in total. So that is 2 hits and a pin. They're already pinned. So the 2 hits are 2 kills, 2 more kills. So that takes them down, and that means they're going to have to withdraw actually, because their shock is more than their kills. So I'll just get those moved. Okay, over here we've got the Allied Section 1 first of all. So we go using the rifle grenadiers to fire at that damaged German section behind the factory, hoping to drive it off the table and destroy it. So the first shots are, it's basically 9 to 18, and it's a great shot. So what have we got? 6, 7, 8 on 9 to 18 on a great shot is 2 hits and a pin. So I'll just put that pin down so we know, and then the 2 hits. It needs either a kill or a shock on here just to drive them off. That's a kill. That is enough, so that takes them down to 5. So yes, I think they're driven off for now. So they fall back 2 inches and they're off the table. So that's another German section gone. So I'm just going to take that off. And then in the meantime, I've already moved them. The bombers and the rifles here have moved forward, and they are now pushing into this attack here. So I've already totted up the dice anyway. So I've got them here. They didn't move very far, so the British have got a few more dice in this one than they normally have. And there's 2 of them attacking. So let's see, 5s and 6s. This is not great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kills in total, and 2 shock. So I'll just keep those to one side. So just take those out and we'll roll the Germans, see if they can beat that score. See what they get. Well, it looks like they have. 1, 2. Oh dear, knocking everything about. 1, 2 in my haste. 3, 4, 5, 6. So the British are thrown back 4 inches. So they're just back inside the factory here instead. And then I shall work out the damage caused on both of them. Okay, we've got Allied Platoon 3. I've just had a quick tidy up, got a lot of the figures, spare figures off, plus changed some of them around just so we haven't got that all that shock everywhere. And it suddenly looks like the Germans have got a hell of a lot less than they had before. Anyway, the Platoon 3 Rifle Grenadiers, they've withdrawn some of their units back behind the tank, and also they are then firing with their Rifle Grenadiers at the machine gun in the factory. So it's a poor shot, 9 to 18, so that's 9, 10 on a poor shot. 9 to 18 is just 1 hit. Let's see what happens to it. It's a 1, so that's no effect. Okay, Allied machine gun, Tekka firing over here. That's these 9 to 18 and an okay shot. So that's 10, that's 15. That's going to be a pretty good hit, I think. Let's just have a look. Not great. 2 hits and a pin. They were actually pinned already because the T-brake had gone. I just forgot to swap them round, so they are on a pin anyway. I forgot to take off the other pins, so I will do that in a second. But those 2 hits, see what happens. 5, so that's a kill. So that means they fall back 2 inches anyway because of their shock. So I'll just get that sorted out. Okay, over here we've got the Allied Platoon 4. So we've got the Lewis gun firing. With -3 unfortunately on its shock, so that's take that off. So that's a 1, 3, 8. Firing 9 to 18 on a poor shot is a miss, so no effect. Then we've got the rifles down the front, they're firing as well with a -1 from their shock. So that's 10, 13, 12. Again 9 to 18 on a poor shot. This is 1 hit on that section there on the end. No effect. And then finally we got their rifle grenades. We'll see what they're hitting with. 7, 8. They've got an okay shot because it's not on open top. No, it's a great shot actually, isn't it? So that is an 8, 9 to 18, and that is 2 hits and a pin. So let's see what those 2 hits are. No effect, but they are pinned at least. And then we've got fire from Allied Platoon 3, so we've got the rifle grenades firing at the ones in the open there, and also the LMG. So I'm starting with the LMG first of all. It's an okay shot, no minuses this time, so 10, 13, okay shot. 9 to 18 is just going to be 2 hits and a pin. They're already pinned, but the 2 hits are a kill and a shock, so that's going to force them back even further. So they are now shocked on 4. They've also got a big man in there. Let me just see if he is killed as well. So let's just turn that up to 6 first of all, and we roll a d10 to see if he is killed. A 1 he is. 10, no he isn't. So they are now 3 men with 6 shock in total, so that means they are then falling back 6 inches. Is that enough for them to fall off the table? No it isn't. So then the rifle grenadiers are also going to fire at them, including the ones in front of them there. So this time it's a great shot, but it's still 9 to 18. So let's just see what they've got. that is 9, 10, 11. Oh, great shot, 9 to 18. That is 3 hits and a pin. So that's pinned the other units, and then there's 3 hits as well. Let's just see. We'll spread those amongst them. No effect. So just the other unit is pinned. But at least that's put 2 of them and got their heads down. Then we've got the Axis MG, or the German MG from the factory, firing down at the bombers here. -2 off that. It's close and a great shot because they're over the top of them. So that's 11. 12. That's up to 9-inch, and 12, so that's 8 hits and a pin. So I'll just put that pin on first of all, and let's just do those 8 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See what happens to these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kills. So that's wiped out the remains of that bomber section. So they are tenaciously holding on to these factories, if nothing else. And then we've got the commander of the tank. He is going to get the 6-pounders to fire at the LMG section over there. So that is 9 to 18 and an OK shot. Then fire at the MMG in the factory as well. So the 8 on the chaps behind the cover. So 9 to 18 on an OK shot. So that's 1 hit. See what happens. No effect. And then at the factory, this is a poor shot, so he might not actually do anything. 5. No, that's a miss. Nothing happened. So we have yet another close assault. We've got the Allied big man number 2. He's basically ordered his rifles and his LMG team to pile into that factory to try to finish off the German defenders in there. Let's see what happens and see if they survive. They probably will, because they've only had a few kills there. That's 1, 2. There was a 6 in there, so it was 2 5s, 2 6s. I did tip that up, and that's all they've got. So 4 kills on those 2 teams, including that MMG. But let's just have a look, see what the Germans do to defend against that. They may hold off just yet, and looks like I think they're going to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the British have lost by 3, which means that they run 12-inch away and they get 2 points of shock for each section or weapons team, and the unit's counters suppressed throughout the next turn. Oh, not good for them. Right, I'll get these casualties on and see where we're at. Then next up we've got our Allied Platoon 3, so we've got the LMG firing, and it's going to be firing at the troops over here, and then we've also got the rifle grenades firing at the same target. We're going to try and break those now. So the LMG first of all, that's 8, 10, 11, firing at 9 to 18 on an OK target. They said that's 11. That is 1 hit and a pin. So that 1 hit is no effect, but they are pinned at least. So I'll just put that marker down there quickly. And then we've also got the rifle grenades. This time it's 9 to 18, but in the grate because they're in the open. So that's 10, that's 14. This time it's 4 hits, and they are suppressed this time. So let's see what that does to them. 4 hits. Rifle grenades only kill on a 6, so that's a kill but 3 shock. So I don't know if that's going to be enough to make them disappear just yet. I'll just work it out. Well, the British are absolutely determined to break the Germans in that factory. The MMG had fallen back from shock, but there's still too many in there, so they've been close assaulted now, this time by big man number 1 and his LMG team. So let's see what happens. They need 5s and 6s, so they've killed 1 and caused shock. They just got rid of that shock, so let's see what the Germans do. They've only got 4 dice. Let's see if they can defend against that. 1 and 1. So that's a kill on both. Let's just see if it's either's big man first of all. So for the Germans, a 1, no, and for the British, a 1. Yes, it's the British big man, so he's dead. The German infantry is dead, and they've both got a shock on each as well. So we have to roll again because that's a tie. So this time they both got a shock. So let me just quickly count this up. So the German is on his own. Although he's defending heavy, he hasn't got 3 dice, so he can't even add that into his total. The British starting with 10, and nothing else, I don't think. Both of them -1 for 2 shock, but they've only got 1 shock each, so let's just see. So the British, right, they've wiped them out. The German, 2. No, it doesn't even kill 1. So the British at least have captured that factory after incredibly heavy fighting, but they have got in there and losing another big man. But they wiped out the Germans in there and captured all half of the flank at least at this point. And the British platoon, the rest of the platoon 1, has now stormed out of the factory and piled into the Germans, hitting them in the rear. But they've only got 4 dice, unfortunately for them, because they had to move quite far. So we've got a 5 and a 6, so that's a kill and a shock. 2 kills actually, and 1 shock. The Germans are only defending on 3 dice because of that hit in the rear. So that's 1 kill but no shock. So the British have won. It throws the Germans back 4 inches. Let me just check how far away 4 inches is, because they may again be off the table. The MMG is almost off the table, so it's there, and then they will be about the same as well. So I'll just sort out those casualties and we'll move on. And then in the final act for the platoon, the Allied platoon here, is their rifle grenades are going to drop on the remains of this German section. The machine gun has disappeared off because it lost because of shock. This is firing 9 to 18 and it's a great shot because they're in the open basically. So let's see, we've got 8, 9, it's not a great roll, but that is 3 hits and pinned. Let's see what those 3 hits do. If this kills 3 of them, then they will be off the table as well. So it's killed 1 and that's all. So there's no effect, they are just holding on, but they are pinned. And then we're back with our German machine gun over there in the building, firing at the ALMG team down there. OK out between 9 and 18, so that's 8, 9, 10 on an OK shot. 1 hit and pinned them, so the hit has just caused them another shock. And then staying over here, we've got the Allied mortars, so they're going to fire at the section that won't die. It's a great shot in the open. That's 12, 16. So that's pretty good. That is a great shot. That's 4 hits and a suppression. So let's see what those 4 hits are. See if it will finally wipe out this section that won't die. So that's 2 kills. So they are going to be off the table anyway. So that's destroyed them. Alright, now we've got Allied armour. It's going to plug away with its 6-pounders. First of all, at the section over there, it's an OK shot between 9 and 18. That's a 6. I'm not sure if that's going to do anything. No, it is. It's a 1 hit. So let's see if that's something. 6, so that's a kill over there. And then at the LMG section as well. So that's 10 on the same. That's a hit and a pin. So let's see what that hit is. Hit is a shock. But the German anti-tank crew have just woken up. 9 and above to hit. 7, that's a miss. So the next card is. And then we've got the rifle grenadiers of the Allied platoon 2. So these are just firing at the guys over there behind the fences. So they're hitting. It's a great shot. That is a cog dice, so I'm going to re-roll that. 2 1s and a 4, so that's a 6. 9 to 18 on a great shot is 2 hits and a pin. They're already pinned, but let's just see what those 2 hits are. 6 and a shock, so that's a kill and a shock. Okay, I have just pulled the T-break card, which obviously ends the turn, and I'm going to call the game there, and I'm going to say this is a British win. Why? Because not only have they smashed their way through the German factories here, the Germans, the last, one of the last platoons here is in a really bad state, hammered. There is a section that hasn't really been touched, but there are 3 sections here of British waiting to pounce on them, along with their gun as well, so they're not going to last very long. There's at least 3 sections over here of rifle grenadiers at the back, which will just keep pouring fire in. We've still got this tank, although it didn't get very far forward, it still is able to suppress fire against the Germans with its 6-pounders. And also on this side as well, we've still got 3 relatively fresh sections, so 3/4 of a full platoon here, whereas over here this platoon was down to its last 2 sections. They were in a good position, and it did have a machine gun cover and the headquarters as well, but we've also got, for the British, we've still got the headquarters here and 2 machine guns and a mortar behind them as well. So I think this would only turn into a grinding a battle of attrition, which the British, I think, would eventually win. Looking at the casualties that have been caused so far, and there is a lot of them, I think the tide had certainly turned for the Germans by this point. So you can see here what I mean. There's the casualties on both sides, the British there on the left, the Germans on the right. The Germans started with far less than the British, but they've taken far more casualties throughout the battle. So that's the difference, and I'm going to call it there rather than just pushing on needlessly. The Germans are going to start falling back, as you would expect they would do at this point, the discretion being the better part of valour, and the British have pushed into the town edge and captured all the buildings. So a fantastic game. I hope you'd enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed playing it. That was just a spur of the moment thing that was really inspired by a quick chat with Andrew Dice Dad over on Twitter, firepowergaming.com. Go and check it out. It's actually a great game. I am being shotgun for the First World War, and I don't think there's that many company level First World War games out there. Maybe Flames of War. But this one, you know, I like this a lot better anyway. I ain't been shot mum a lot more than Flames of War anyway, but probably goes without saying. But yeah, it works really well for the First World War. Obviously, there's a lot more infantry than any vehicles, so it's a bit more of a grinding match than it would be if it's Second World War. But it certainly seems to fit the style of definitely of 1918 fighting anyway. Well, if you've enjoyed that as much as I've enjoyed it, please do leave me a comment, give me a like. If you've not liked it, give me a dislike, either or, I don't mind. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe, and also check out my Patreon and check me out on Twitter. Also check out the Facebook as well for Storm of Steel, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.